Christian Dads, Season 2. We're about to explode. Just dudes talking news, sports, and God.
What's up, guys? Welcome into the Modern Christian Dads Podcast. My name is Jeremiah Johnson. We're dudes talking news, sports, and God. We're back at it once again. We got a little different lineup, if you will, because that's what happens when you step into 7-game series. Sometimes you mix up the lineup a little bit, you know.
Change it up.
So we got the man Evan Belk here today, back with us. Hand clap for you, Mr. Belk. Welcome back. You were on with us a while back now.
When all this started.
Yeah, it was like, and we were talking basketball, and that's why we got you today, because we're going to hop into something very exciting. My man, GOAT James, LeBron legend. Legend James is, he got that 4th ring, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. I'm super excited. I'm a Lakers fan, so I was very, very pleased.
I couldn't tell he was
a little bit nervous after Game 5, just a little bit nervous, but then my world changed Sunday night, so praise God. I had some wings. And saw it. It was wonderful. So, Evan Belk, what have you been up to, man? You're teaching away. You're a teacher doing the basketball thing.
Yep.
For I totally forgot the name now.
Rainmakers.
Hype that up one more time.
Rainmakers Christian Sports Ministry. We use basketball as a platform to reach people for Christ, reach kids. We travel around the country.
And what's with COVID? Has that been completely kiboshed or?
No, we were able to. We took most of the summer off. We started in mid-June with some light tournaments, practices, social distance practice. Went to some tournaments and stuff. No positive cases. None of the tournaments we went to had any positive cases. Still was able to get in and have a very scaled down version of the ministry, but still able to get it in. So
praise God.
Good.
We got to keep going. We can't stop. We can't stop what God's called us to do.
Yep.
So we're learning that. We might have to alter, change, and maybe we don't have the numerical things that we want right now, but we still do what God's called us to do. So who is Leckley Shepins? That's the question before we move on.
Who?
Exactly.
Kelly Stevens, come on. Kelly Stevens, the man now known as Leckley Shepins right over there. Yeah, he's got a new name. He's a pro wrestler. Is he hyping this up?
He has told me about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a new name too, so you're not alone.
I gave him a new name a while back, Leckley Shepins, and so
I know that. He hasn't shared that.
It's a whole merch line. He has a merch line.
T-shirts.
Who is Leckley Shepins? The merch line.
I had no idea.
I thought my name was Tap Out Cry Boy.
He's also he's really upped his planking game since the last time you've been here.
What, 10 seconds now?
Yeah.
Or
he's up to just barely getting on the floor. So.
It looks more like a teeter-totter.
Gosh.
All right, Leckley Shepins, aka Kelly Stevens, the man. What's going on? How you got anything quick and weighty to throw at us real quick there?
Let me just tell you, I've got a new grandbaby.
Oh, that's right. There you go. Celebratory.
Got a new granddaughter. Yes. I'm telling you what, she's precious. She's perfect. Yes, I said she's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
She looks a whole lot like me, which is just great.
Poor
you
thing.
know?
Yeah. I don't know if that's
You're like,
great.
we should name her Lekla Shepins.
Lekla. Yeah.
No, mommy's doing good, and my granddaughter's doing good. My son has got a big old smile on his face because he's got 3 boys, and he was about ready to throw in the towel. Now he's got
which is a great segue. We always throw people under the bus on this show.
Right.
In other words, my wife says we insult each other and other people, and she doesn't understand.
We do what we do.
We have to throw my daughter under the bus, Gabrielle. Faye Johnson, because after our pro wrestling, we vlog that. We put it on Grace Point Daily YouTube channel. You can check out our journey and our trip as pro wrestlers, Christian Wrestling Federation. Shout out to those guys down in Dallas, Texas. But after we came back, she's like, oh, the podcast should be more like Modern Christian Grandpas.
See?
Wow.
I'm not a grandpa.
Yeah.
You are. I'm not. But basically insulting your age, your, you know, who you are, your physicality.
I'm feeling the pain right now.
You're going under the bus, Gabrielle. And then let's throw my wife under the bus too. It's pretty hilarious. I just love her perspective of the modern. She's just like, I don't get it.
Yeah, well,
the other day. She said that
I
again,
actually
which has been
think
more than
that's
once.
a good thing.
Yeah, that's what I was. Praise God.
It's supposed to be that
That's
way.
the point. All right, and now we have Mr. Greg Craywick.
Hello.
Greg
Seriously?
Walden's gone. Seriously, it's Greg Craywick.
Him. Yes.
The Donut Lord.
Yeah.
And I got some snacks today. I got some Chips Ahoy, some Chewy Chips Ahoy Reese's
good.
peanut butter cups. I did get some Flamin' Hot Funyuns. Those are for you, Kelly Stevens, to try one of those out.
Are they flaming hot?
I was hoping
know.
for the bad.
But I was in Walmart and I happened to see a lady in our church and her grandson, you driving the bus,
Yeah.
Gunner.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting snacks for Pastor Greg."
Yeah. It's always for Pastor Greg.
Cookies and chips.
So, and that is a great segue because you are known, he's now known as the Donut Lord, aka the Donut Lord.
We're not sure why.
He has an affinity. We know why. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you have to embrace who you are.
I know
Greg.
who the real donut lord is.
I've been telling my daughter every time she comes home from ministry class, how many donuts did Greg eat? And it's always plus
Less than
3 or
what
more.
she eats.
Plus 3 or more. So, with that in mind, Krispy Kreme will give free donuts to customers in costume.
What
Okay,
do I have to wear? What do you guys want
Krispy
me to wear?
Kreme will give a free donut to customers who visit a store wearing a Halloween costume. And on Saturdays between October 10th and Halloween, customers who buy a dozen donuts can buy another dozen for $1.
All right, you know what we should do? We should wear the wrestling shorts that your wife hates.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We go
yeah.
to Krispy Kreme in those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what we should do.
We got the
Because I bet that they
Nacho
will
Libre
partake
mask
in
over there?
eating of
Let's
some
make
of the
sure
donuts
whatever
that we
town
get.
we go to that has the Krispy Kremes that they have a slow police response time. So we can get away. I don't want my mug shot in a pair of tights.
You would just get. Have you seen the slideshow of the Walmart people, the crazy Walmart
yeah.
slideshows
Yeah.
that they show?
Yeah.
Of like real life
Yes.
people and like, but it's true. You know, it's totally true. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so is.
Okay, so one year as a gag gift, my wife got me a Krispy Kreme donut bikini calendar. And it was
That's just even more proof that you're the donut
plus size people will just say that. So as a joke, my wife did that. She got me. And I saw, what is she is just laughing so hard as I'm like, what is this right now? So yeah, anyway.
Gosh.
I just find
That's
just
lead into
little-
the MCD calendar we're gonna do someday.
Yeah.
That'd be totally appropriate as a pastor and
With
Christian.
Leslie as the
Yeah.
centerfold.
Yeah.
starring
So
Leslie Shepins.
July 4th.
All right. So go get some Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm a Krispy Kreme guy. If I want a donut, I like Krispy Kreme the best.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Okay. So moving on to the next one.
Do you have any change?
The coin shortage. Have you guys heard about that? Or have you found this to be annoying? If you have cash, you go into Walmart and now all the self-checkouts are no cash or
Right.
half of them are cash or... You guys
Yes,
experienced
yeah,
it so
for
far?
sure,
Okay.
yeah.
And so the whole coin shortage, and I'm
Yes,
just
we
wondering,
have
I
that
have
there,
gone in
Jeremy.
and been frustrated. I'm like, is it disappearing? Is there going to be no coins anymore? We read a prophetic word from a guy who's given a prophecy, a Christian guy.
yeah.
We don't know him necessarily, but we
yeah.
didn't think it was like wacko word from the Lord. But one of the things he said is that there will be a chain shortage. That's what he said
Yeah.
in his word from the Lord as
It was,
election time nears.
Dana Coverstone.
Yeah.
Out of Kentucky.
So I did a little research. Here's what it says. Why is there a coin shortage? Okay. So here's at least their explanation. The coronavirus pandemic has disrupted coin circulation in two ways. Back in March and April, coin production slowed as minting facilities nationwide implemented new health and safety protocols, such as reducing the number of employees per shift to practice social distancing. Martin says, by the beginning of May 2020, just 4.2 billion new coins had been created compared to 5.7 billion at the same point in 2019. Coins are also piling up in American homes instead of being spent at retailers and deposited at banks, with fewer people shopping in brick and mortar stores these days and many using credit cards instead of cash. Fewer coins are being put back into the system. In normal circumstances, retail transactions and Coin recyclers return a significant amount of coins to circulation on a daily basis. Martin says there's an inadequate amount of coins in the economy, but coins aren't circulating through the economy as quickly as they were prior to COVID-19. There's still 4 billion coins.
Yeah,
Come on.
Sounds like a lot.
Where are they at? But it sounds like they're under Leckley Shepton's bed or something right now.
Let's just say I've got a large piggy bank.
Yeah. But here's the one thing. I found interesting. If you go to the second part of this article, it says, rest assured that would be nearly impossible. The U.S. stop making coins. That would be nearly impossible for the United States to stop minting coins, according to Martin. In fact, the law requires the U.S. Mint to do so. The Federal Reserve, which monitors demand and regulates supply of American currency, places order for coins that U.S. Mint must fill. So I guess the good news is I guess we still might have the annoyance of the self-checkout machines at Walmart, but coins are not going away.
Yeah. The Federal Reserve, they're our friend, right? No. Anyway, but what was interesting about Dana Coverstone is when he released that prophecy, that was like the first thing that he said is there was going to be a coin shortage. And when we started seeing that, I thought, whoa, maybe this guy really has got something to what he's saying. Because a lot of times you hear these people come out with these prophecies, and you're like, yeah, right. Nothing ever seems to come from it. But this happened like 2 weeks after he said this, which was very surprising to me. So.
I think it's going to keep getting crazier, whether it's coins or whatever it might be. All right. You guys all have iPhones?
I do. Mine's right here. Yep. Okay.
Leckley Shepton, you're the Samsung guy.
I am
out of the four of us. Which,
yes.
I respect that. I like the Samsung Galaxy Note. I was a big fan of that phone. It broke, and I had to get an iPhone. So,
life expectancy.
Yeah.
You might want to start shopping
my
around.
iPhone. Anytime an iPhone sees me, it's like, no, run.
It breaks itself.
I didn't realize we were paying you so much at this church. You didn't even afford an iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen it? It's an old one.
Oh, it's borrowed.
Whoa. Okay, so today was Apple Tuesday, the unveiling.
I didn't know that.
Apple unveiled 4 new editions of one of the best-selling U.S. consumer devices in a virtual presentation on Apple's website and YouTube channel. I did catch part of it, and they obviously go above and beyond their presentation. And they were showing. Have you guys seen the new building that they're in now? What do they call it? The donut or the
Infinite
circle
loop.
or the loop building? Yeah. It is insane. Usually, I watch a YouTube video on that.
Is it better than what Tesla would do?
I think it's cooler than Tesla because Tesla is just like a square rectangular building, and I think they're just going for space rather than look. Where the Apple building clearly went for look and aesthetics and all that stuff. Yeah. Let's see here. Instead of mid-September, when Apple traditionally introduced the new iPhones, the company was forced to delay the event because of manufacturing, obviously because of COVID-19. The big news this year connecting to the new emerging speedy 5G. So it's all about 5G is what it's all about. Yeah. But so the Apple iPhone 12, 4 models starting from $699 to $1,099. Okay. But one thing that I think is just crazy is talking about our lust for iPhones in America. Apple sold just under 200 million iPhones in 2019.
Wow.
That's insane.
So, oddly enough, or strangely enough, or interestingly enough, is that the iPhone actually only takes up 25% of the market or something like that. But it's just that they're popular and their price point and all those kind of things. So
now I'll say, as far as the 5G goes, when we were traveling up to Indiana for Labor Day, when we got close to Chicago, we noticed that our phones on the network indicator on our phone said 5G, and the internet speed was really, really fast. So I'm excited about that. I mean, maybe it'll come to Carthage. I don't know. Carthage is spotty anyway.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. So you can look forward to some 5G speed. Yeah.
So the new Apple iPhone, and it is what do they call it? Techtober right now. Mm-hmm. So Google just came out with the new phone, Apple, etc. I did I had last year when I broke that first Galaxy Note. I did transition to a Motorola, and I thought it was a cool phone. It was a very cool phone. It was only $250, brand new. I liked it, but then I broke it. And I went back to Apple. I've had some issues last year or so, in my life.
Issues.
Nice.
Okay, well, we really have to dive deep into this. Let's hit our sponsor, and we're going to talk spiritual talk in conjunction with my LA Lakers, LeBron James,
of course.
and their fourth national championship. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Jeremiah Johnson. I am the host of Grace Point Daily and the Modern Christian Dads podcast. But most importantly, I have the coolest job of being the lead pastor of Grace Point Assembly in Carthage, Missouri. Our church is about helping people discover a relationship with Christ and your purpose in Him, connecting other followers of Christ together in relationship and living out the mission of God. Why don't you join us for a service next time you're in this area? For more information, service times, and our address, go to gracepointag.org. We hope to see you soon.
All right, I added, without your permission, because I am kind of the CEO, if you will, of the Modern Christian Dad, so I can, or president.
Yeah.
Well, we would be like
I'm used to that. I'm used to that power. As the pastor of Grace Point, I'm also the president of the board, so I'm used to being a powerful person, if you will.
I've always thought that.
So I did. Did you guys notice this on our MCD Modern Christian Dads? I started a Modern Christian Dads sports only edition
I saw that
episode.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
On Monday, so we're gonna have a sports only edition because I like coming out Monday. I want to give all these thoughts on sports. I'm like, clearly, Leckley Shepins, Greg Walden, they don't know anything about sports or have any input. They're like, hey, so you got anything over there, Leckley Shepins? No. Yeah. So it kind of makes for uneventful sports talks. I'm like, I got this. MCD sports talk only.
Are you gonna
coming once a
include,
week?
Professional bowling?
We could. I like bowling. Sure. I got love for the bowling. But anyway, and I had so much talking about those LA Lakers coming out of that. So we really, actually, for this section, we won't need either one of you, Leckley Shepins or Greg Krogh. Just Evan Belk and I can handle
Okay,
this.
all right.
I was
Well,
gonna say,
here,
we could
you know,
probably
just
just
turn the
take a
mics
break or
off.
something.
Actually, we can step out for a while, come back.
But I did talk
Text
about,
us
so
when you're ready.
let's layer through this a little bit. I did go into the debate on MCD Sports Talk only of the GOAT talk, which is hot and fresh once again, LeBron James or MJ. Your take, Mr. Belk.
Man, you got to look at, first off, just the absolute, like the magnitude of what he's done. 10 straight, NBA finals, or sorry, 10. He had 9 straight, then, missed it. And then he had the 10th. To go to 10 NBA finals is absolutely insane by itself. Like that is so, 10 out of 17. That's just huge. And I think it's one of those things where we are in the middle of something that will be remembered as long as this sport will be played.
Yep.
And so I feel like it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to understand when we're in the middle of it. And then they start showing the stats that he has and where he ranks all time in the NBA finals, and it is nuts. And I started pulling that up before I came in just to show it.
He has superseded Jordan on so many statistical
So many
areas.
different things. So triple doubles, he's at number 1 with 11.
Yep.
Michael Jordan's not even on the list. Then finals points, he's second. All-time three-pointers made, he's second, which is a weird stat for him to be on. Steals, he's second. Assist, he's second. Field goals made, he's second. All these things, rebounds, he's fourth. So he's had all these different stats, and there's a whole list of them that he has that you're like, man, that's insane. 56 NBA Finals games. That's
more playoff wins.
Yes, more playoff
better
wins.
winning percentage.
Yes, 70 when the game's
Jordan.
on the or when the series is on the lines, close out series, he is 70%, which is just nuts. 70% of the time you're going home if playing LeBron.
Here's one thing that annoys me. They say he's not clutch. More game-winning shots in his career than Jordan.
Right.
And he's not clutch.
Right. And well, the thing is when he passed that, I think it was in game 5. It must have been game 5 when he drove in and kicked it out to Danny Green, who did have a absolutely terrible series that we can get into a whole nother podcast, but horrible series. Passed out to Danny Green, and Danny Green, of course, missed because he was shooting terribly. But what else did you want LeBron to do? He drove into the lane. 3 people collapsed on him. He kicked out to an open shooter who has been a knockdown three-point shooter in his career, had an opportunity to get it, and they started nailing him on it. And the thing that was so funny,
I knew it was coming too.
I know it was. And the thing that's so funny is they showed a video of Kobe Bryant, almost the exact same set, driving into the lane and getting blocked by 3 people. And it's like, was that what you want? Did you want him to just go in and get blocked? That way he said he took the last shot? Like, what did you want from him? You know,
Yeah.
but man, there's just so much to it. The only thing that Jordan, people who, you know, have the Jordan camp can say is every time he went to the finals, he won 6-0. And, you know, LeBron's 4-0 or, you know, 4 for 6, 4 out of 10, 40%. And that's the only thing that you can say, like, hey, that's strictly on his side, like on MJ's side. Everything else has shown, man, LeBron's overtaking
greatest player of all time.
Greatest player. And that's the thing. We got to get past the whole championships equals best player.
Okay. LeBron, look at the teams that he has had.
Oh, I know.
Garbage teams that he drug. It's like me on, you know, MCD. I'm dragging these guys to greatness on a continual basis. And that's effort.
I beg to differ.
Well, and not only that, there's a couple things, you know, I watched religiously that.
Have you tried to put Leckley Shepps on your back before and carry him?
Every day.
That's effort.
Every day. No, I'm kidding. But no, it's one of those things where it's one of those things where like you look at I watched that, you know, the documentary on the Chicago Bulls. And one thing that you have to remember is the level the level that the competition that each team brings at this day and age is so far superior. Because I will say the top 2 or 3 teams is just as good as any team you're going to see now. But the lower teams were not. And so those are things that you got to kind of look at where like LeBron has to bring it every night. You know, I think this is by far the best or the greatest accomplishment that could be had is to win a championship inside this bubble. You know what I mean? Like that to me, they were locked from the outside world starting July 7th. They didn't leave. They didn't do anything. They stayed within.
No family until the conference finals, I think, or something.
No family, no nothing. So, like, you look at that and you're like, holy smokes, that is a long time. I don't care where you are, how much money you have. That is a long time to be locked into one place where you can't leave. Yep. You're getting tested every single day. Like, you know, I think that in itself, I think this finals is one of the greatest. And something that I thought of, did you see that he walked off the floor game 5 and how people are like, my champion, my greatest, whatever. Well, your greatest of all time punched their teammates in the face. So let's look at that. But also, here's the thing that made me so frustrated. And I've been pondering and like continually thinking the past 2 weeks. This saying has just been going through my mind, especially in this day and age, and how we attack other people, especially if they have a different viewpoint than us. Would we just give the same amount of grace to others that we give ourselves? Like, can we do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, LeBron, okay, get this. Like, hear me out. I was watching the game, and when I saw LeBron walk off, I was like, that's a bad look. That's a horrible look, man. Like, 10 seconds left. He's making his teammates, you know, take their warm-ups off so they have 5 on the floor so they could finish the game. I'm like, that's a tough look. And then I started thinking about, okay, all right, this dude has been stuck in this place since July 7th. Here he is, chance to win the title and go home, because they all got out of there afterwards. Like, they got on the next plane and they were home to L.A. Had a chance to go home and should have won, let it slip through their fingers, and now he has to stay here 3 more days. You got to think that's going through his head at that point. Yeah. Because no one, again, you're a Lakers fan, but from an outside perspective, no way the Heat are going to win this. It just was the inevitable Lakers are going to win it. You just didn't know when. And you kind of got that feeling from LeBron. Like, really, we got to be here 3 more days for this. And that's why they came out and whooped them by, you know, went up on a 30-point lead. Because they're like, let's at not one point. Do this. Can we not do this? And the thing is like, in James 4 and verse 6.
This is a beautiful episode. It really is. Michael Shepins.
James 4.
Is this LeBron James 4?
Yeah, LeBron James.
Oh!
There is a King James version.
King James.
Yikes. No, but the James 4, he's talking about like all these things that the human condition brings. You know, in verse 1 it says, what causes quarrels and what causes fights among you? Is it not that your passions are at war within you? You know, the thing, you know, you look at what's happening right now within our culture and within our society. We have one side that thinks they're right, another side that thinks they're right, and the reason why we don't get along is because we let the passions within us build up and we refuse to look at the other side. So he's literally saying, and he goes on in a lot of different verses talking about how humans are basically like trash. Like we are not, we don't get along, we don't do a whole lot of things together. And it talks about how like if you're friends of the world, you're friends of the world, you're an enemy of God, and he keeps doing this. And then verse 6, he takes a pivot. And he goes, but he gives more grace.
Yeah.
Which is nuts to me. Like he talks about how crazy awful we are as a culture and as a people. And then he says it. He says, but he gives more grace. So he knows how terrible we are. He knows that we fight and quarrel and do all these things. But at the end of the day, he still gives more grace. And it's this. Therefore, it says, God opposes the proud and gives grace to the humble. Because I've realized when dealing with people who have different issues, different opinions, different thoughts of me, the only way I'm going to be able to understand them fully is to humble myself in my own viewpoint, or I will never fully understand what they're going through.
Oh, that's good.
And so the thing is like I look at LeBron walking off. Yeah, that's not a good look, but Tom Brady did that Sunday when he lost. He walked off without a high five, and Patrick Mahomes did the same thing. I was like, let's keep the same energy for them if that's what we're doing. The GOAT just walked off without high fiving. But the thing is like, I wish that we look at this and be like, okay, in order for me to understand what's going on in that mindset, maybe we need to look at this dude wants to go home. He's ready to go home. It's inevitable. He's going to take it. They're going to win this thing. He has to stay. He walks off. And that's the reason why he's not the greatest of all times? Because we're seeing him in his worst moment, and now we're going to write him off? Like, no. Yes. That's not it. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we would never do that to ourselves. We would never write ourselves off after a mistake. You know, and I think about how crazy it is that, for instance, there are people out there that are truly hurting because of their experiences with whether it be law enforcement or other things. And I don't understand that fully because of who I am and how I grew up. But I will never be able to come to grips and come to learn if I don't humble myself and be like, you are acting a certain way, you are hurting because you have gone through something. And just because I haven't gone through something doesn't mean it's not going on. And I have to be able to look within myself and be like, okay, take a deep breath. They're hurting. Let's listen to them because there's probably something there that I need to look at and be like, okay, I need to think about it. And I just think about the thing that made me, this has been like a total like year-long journey. But this summer we were playing, my Rainmakers, my high school team was playing in this elite tournament. And they're all driving now. And we were in basically one of the semifinal games, and my starting point guard is nowhere to be found. He left to go get some lunch, and he's nowhere to be found. And I'm like, where in the heck is this dude? He texts this guy. He texts one of our teammates saying, hey, I'm running a little bit late. I won't be there for the start of the game, which is huge. Like, we're in the semifinals or whatnot. I'm ready to rip him up.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you late? And he gets there. I call a timeout, and I motion him to me. I'm ready to just rip into him. And he goes, yeah, my grandfather just died. I don't know where to go, so I came here. I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if I would have approached it with giving him no grace and just came in like, what are you doing? What are you know?
Yeah.
But he felt safe in this area, so that's why he came. And then 2 days later, he's giving me text messages like, Coach, hey, I just appreciate who you are, the impact that you've had on my life. If I don't sit and think about, okay, maybe he's actually going through something. Maybe he's late. Maybe my coworker is late because they're going through something. Maybe I shouldn't get on to them, treat them a certain type of way. Maybe we should give LeBron just a little bit of grace. We're not talking about him punching teammates like one of your GOATs is doing, or any one of those things. We're talking about him walking off the floor 10 seconds, and that's why he's not the greatest all the time. Yeah, not his best moment, 100%.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought about James. I thought about what I'm going through. I'm thinking about what our world's going through, and I see posts on people like, why are they protesting? Why is it this? Like, no, they're hurting. And instead of looking at why they're hurting, we write them off because we don't view it that way.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Luckily, happens just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber. You go and totally redeem yourself and let Evan Belt come back on the show. Good job.
Yes. Well, I knew it was a day that me and Greg were just going to just sit here.
That's kind of nice. You been fishing lately? How's things going?
All right. Staying on that same theme, championship, LeBron, number 4. I put down quick some spiritual encouragement, guide to greatness, because, LeBron's great. Whether you think he's the GOAT or not, he is great. But I think the goal is for all of us to be great men of God, right? That's the goal of modern Christian dads.
Yes.
We hope that you become great, literally great, because that's what the Bible says that you can be. So let me give you a few verses. Number 1, very popular one, Philippians 4:13. It says, I can do all things which he has called me to do through him who gives me strength and empowers me to fulfill his purpose. I am self-sufficient in Christ's sufficiency. I'm ready for anything and equal to anything through him who infuses me with inner strength and confident peace. And, greatness happens with him, as I just put down, with him, because as guys, we have that tendency to want to self-build or self-make or take the reins and or do it ourselves, and to be great spiritually, you have to do it with him. Mm-hmm. And, I'd segue that into, just as we can talk about every great basketball player, one great player wins without a great team. You can say, okay, you want to talk the Bulls? You're not talking just Jordan. You're talking Pippen, Horace Grant, level one. Then you're talking, now you're talking on the next team. You had Rodman and Ron Harper. Mm-hmm. Yeah, then you're talking about, all the Lakers. Yeah, they had Kobe and Shaq, but they had Derek Fisher and they had Rick Fox and they had Robert Horry, And so you talk about the San Antonio Spurs. You had Parker and Duncan, but legends. You also had Ginobili, and you had all these people. You may have had the Lakers back in the day. You may have had Magic and Kareem, but you had Worthy and you had all these guys, Cooper, and so it's just layer upon layer. So, but for us, we can only do it with him. That greatness is with him. It's not and I am of that tendency at times, busyness, or I got to do this, or I can do this, but rather I need to take on that perspective as a man of God, says, God, I can only do this with you.
With you and with the community. I mean, John 17, he literally prays for you to be one as him and the Father are one, because that's how people actually know that he is who he is. And so unity and community and team is something that is so strong, should be a bond, because we're never called to do it alone. Never.
Yeah. Well, you and I should just start a church together, King James Community Church.
Yeah, you should have had him on Monday.
Yeah.
Wow. I love you, Leckley, but moving on to something greater, okay?
Greater things, people, greater things.
Number 2, Luke chapter 1, verse 15, it says, for he will be great and distinguished in the sight of the Lord and will never drink wine or liquor, and he will be filled with and empowered to act by the Holy Spirit while still in his mother's womb. This is talking about Jesus, but this aspect of greatness through discipline, that to do the great thing that Jesus himself was called to do, he's going to have to abstain. He will never do certain things. There are going to be things that he's going to have to keep out of his life and be disciplined to not do that. And as men of God, we have to be disciplined. We have to make sure that we, great LeBron James, let's talk about him, is that they talk about how much he spends on his body.
Over $1 million
on his, similar to you, Leckley Shepens.
Well, it's probably half of that's in ink.
Okay. Over, under, how many times a day do you think a woman comes up to Leckley Shepens and says this? How much you spend on your body? Okay, sorry, let's stay focused.
Taco Bell's expensive, man. Spend a lot.
It's called value meal.
I was going to say McDonald's 3 times a day.
But he is disciplined.
Yes.
Jordan was disciplined. Kobe was disciplined. Right. one of my favorite players of all time, Shaquille O'Neal, he gets a hard time because he kind of faded in discipline. He got a little too fat towards the last few years, And so, these guys that are great are disciplined. And for us to be great men of God, we have to be disciplined. We have to make sure that we're keeping things out of our lives and our spiritual system that are going to hinder us from becoming great.
About two and a half years ago, I read, I'm still rereading it. I read it every year. It's called Raise Your Game by Alan Stein. And Alan Stein had an opportunity to go to a personal one-on-one workout with Kobe Bryant. And so Alan said he showed up on time, but Kobe had been there for about an hour and a half still. Before that, this was early in the morning. And Kobe Bryant spent his entire one-on-one 2-hour workout on pivots and pump fakes. The greatest player of his generation, like let's put him in his generation, spent 2 hours on pivots and pump fakes. And you're like, so he's not working on that move, he's not working on, the shake, like he's not working on anything that Kobe usually would like. And so Alan Stein goes to Kobe and says, why did you just spend 2 hours working on pivots and pump fakes? And Kobe's statement literally changed how I do personal one-on-one workouts with every kid that I do. I have about 10 to 15 of them that I do one-on-one workouts with throughout the week. And I tell them this every time. Kobe says, I am the greatest at the small things, which makes me greatest at the big things. So he does pivots and pump fakes better than anyone else. And so go out on YouTube and look up Kobe Bryant pivots and pump fakes, and it's insane what he does with those. And so it made me realize, like in our own faith, am I being great at the small things? My prayer life, my scripture reading. Am I doing the small things? Because we look at church services or meetings or whatever as the big things. We got to be there every week. That's kind of our big game day or whatever, where it's an individual what we're doing within ourselves to work, and that's what makes us the best, and that's what made Kobe so good.
Yep. You guys have anything to say over here?
I mean,
not only did I not
covered
get to
everything.
talk really today, now I got to go into the sanctuary and repent.
I'll be right next to you, brother.
There's never been a moment you've planked in vain, Kelly Stevens. Let's just say that. Okay. My last one here is out of Romans 12:12, and I'm reading all these out of the Amplified, but it says, and do not be conformed to this world any longer with its superficial values and customs, but be transformed and progressively changed as you mature spiritually by the renewing of your mind, focusing on godly values and ethical attitudes, so that you may prove for yourselves what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect in his plan and his purpose for you. But I love that word, to be transformed and progressively changed. That is actively working towards something in your spiritual life. That, if we take again, we're on this basketball theme, celebrating one, King James, LeBron James, GOAT James, LeBron legend. But, these guys always worked on something. A few years back, I remember LeBron, his big thing is he went to Hakeem Olajuwon's camp and worked on post-up moves. He still doesn't post up a lot, but he did that. Or look at LeBron dropping Steph-like threes this year. That didn't happen a few years ago. That's why he gets busted a little bit on the 2012 Dallas Mavericks series, because he couldn't hit a mid-range. But now he can step back, from all over the place and get hot. And he couldn't do that before. Well, he progressed, So there's a lot of those areas in his game that he's progressed. And that's what we're supposed to do spiritually, is progressing, moving forward, and not doing, you just brought it up with that last Kobe Bryant illustration, not focusing on the superficial values. Now, I was going to joke before, I think the only thing left that Jordan has over LeBron is this 6-0, which is really 3-0, not 6-0, and a whole nother argument. But really, the only thing he's going to have left at the end of his career, when LeBron James is all wrapped up, is shoes. That's the only thing Jordan's going to have over LeBron. But you know what I'm saying?
LeBron's shoes are not good. I'm not going to lie.
But what do people think? I'm going to go get some Jordans, and well, it's going to somehow enhance my basketball skills, or these superficial things to do. that's not going to help. I know it's like when I was in Utah, I remember I was running a lot more and biking a lot more than I am now. I'm getting back in the running game here the last few weeks. But I remember one thing when people would want to start trail running or biking with me and stuff like that, it was all about the gear, like somehow like that's not going to do anything for you, man. You can have, now you do need good running shoes if you're going to be a serious runner, but they're all about like the, superficial things. I'm like, you got to learn to run.
Right.
That's not going to really, really help you in the long run. And so sometimes in our spiritual life, we're doing these superficial things that don't really help us. And the Bible's talking about that we have to be transformed. We have to be progressive. We have to keep changing. We have to keep maturing spiritually.
No, that's good. No, I was to play off of that, kind of the same thing. The biggest thing, did you watch the Jordan documentary?
I just saw clips. I didn't watch the whole thing of it because I was angry.
My favorite part of the whole documentary was Michael Jordan's security guard was talking in a previous, I think he actually ended up passing away before the documentary came out, but there was a previous documentary and multiple people said the same thing. But in one of the last episodes, someone asked, what makes Jordan Jordan? And he leans back and he goes, and it was so profound and it made me realize it blew my mind. But he said he was always present. He always knew who he was. So Jordan always knew he was Jordan to everyone in the room. He knew the effect that he had on people. He knew the effect that he had on everyone around him because he knew he was Jordan. And he knew the effect that he had in basketball games. And so it made me think of how many stars, I think that's why they fail and they falter, is they forget who they are and they end up living these superficial lives that you see. And there's a reason why you don't really see LeBron or MJ at the time doing a whole lot of tabloid type stuff, is because he always remained who he is and realized he was always present. And he said he was always present in the moment. He always knew how important this moment was. Yeah. Now it's actually his curse now too, because he can't stop being Jordan, and Jordan wants to win at literally everything. Yeah. But I think that's what makes Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan, all these guys, they lived in the moment better than I think we do. Because they always understand the gravity of whatever they are doing. And I think that's also what makes LeBron so good, is because he gets to this, he understands that round one of the playoffs is just as important as the NBA Finals, because that's how you get there. So he remained present in round one, where some superstars overlook. And you see, I think that's why Denver, Boston, all these other programs, they are already vicariously living through the NBA Finals, because we all know that the Boston Celtics should have beat. Yes. They should have beat them. LA should have. Clippers should have. They remained, and that's, I think, LeBron's teams throughout his whole career, his team remains present. When your superstar remains present in the moment, not looking ahead, not looking back, they remain focused as well. And I think that's why Jordan had so much success towards the end of his career, is because you couldn't be on a Jordan team and not remain in present. If you were off focused, if you're everything.
Where you got punched in the face.
You got punched in the face,
Literally.
But the thing is that just hit me hard. It wasn't, his work ethic. It wasn't this. No, it was the fact that he could remain present. And I think about my job as a coach, as a teacher, am I missing things? Are my kids bringing stuff from home or from something that happened that I'm not remaining present in my moment, where I'm missing something? Am I missing something in my job? Am I missing something when I'm coaching? Am I missing an opportunity because I'm not present in the moment? I'm living through a message on my phone. Am I living through something that happened, is about to happen, something I'm looking forward to? Am I present in the moment right now? And I think that's one of their all-time gifts, is that they could do that at a high level, is stay where they are currently.
Wow. Final thoughts, Leckley Shappins, a.k.a. Kelly Stevens.
Dude, I'm just thinking to all the modern Christian dads out there that you're the GOAT, and you're the GOAT in your family. And just what Evan just said, Be present.
Yeah,
Be present in your home. Be present in your family and living in the moment and not thinking about, hey, I've got a fishing trip in 3 weeks. You know, live today and take care of your family and be a part of it and be the leader. Be the leader that God called you to be. So,
Pastor Greg.
I would agree with that a lot. I think a lot of times it's easy to live with a mindset of the way things used to be.
yep.
Or living in the way
true right now.
Yeah, or living in a way you wish things you would hope them to be. But I think that's really good to live in the present, because life goes by quick, man.
Yeah.
So you don't want to miss a beat.
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest episode we have ever done on the Modern Christian Dads podcast, Evan Belk. You know, Kelly Stevens, I had a really good time with you in this journey of Modern Christian Dads, and it's been a great journey together.
I just want to say to all my fans out there, it's been real, it's been fun.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Today I'm retiring.
Yeah. Last week we weren't sure if they were going to let you back on this week, so so it must be all good
What's
now.
this new Modern Christian Grandpa's podcast? I think I heard that guy on the...
Sponsored by Metamucil.
Yeah. All right, guys, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's been a good one. We'll talk to you guys next time.